Hey everyone, it's Cricket Song with Inner Wisdom, and you're watching another episode of Wine, Witches, Witchcraft. And I'm here with my co-host, Renee Yin.
Hello, how are you?
Yay, Cricket Song and Renee. We're talking tonight. Wine, Witches, Witchcraft. Woo! That's our new
We just got a new jingle.
We did. Okay, so tonight I'm drinking a white wine. This is the same barefoot wine I had the other night. Huh?
The Pinot Grigio?
Yeah, it's the last glass. It's not even a full glass, but it's the last glass. I can't drink too much because I'm kind of feeling tired, and I feel like if I were to drink too much, I might end up falling asleep in the middle of the show, so.
Today I am 3 sheets in, and we are drinking screwdrivers out of a mason jar because that's how we do it in Texas. And today is brought to you by Kettle One because that's the type of week I'm having. So no Angry Orchards today. Today we're not sponsored by Kettle One.
She's screwing the mason jar.
I'm doing something to the mason jar. So we'll figure it out sooner or later.
And we have people already in chat tonight. Hey.
Hey.
Yemaya Yansa. I don't know. Melissa, James. Hey, Lilocan. Alina. Random Witch. Hey, Random. Yay. So tonight I had a request by someone on Cricket Song's Facebook page asking us to discuss spirit communication. And when this person said in regards to spirit communication, she was asking, not necessarily talking about spirits as in deities or God forms or those types of forces, but specifically entities or spirits that were once incarnated in human form. So we're talking like ghosts, that kind of, or, you know, human spirits or spirits that were once human beings. That's what she would like us, if we would, to discuss that kind of thing. So I told her, sure, why not? We can chit chat about that kind of thing. I don't know how much more I have to say about it because I know we've done a few shows on Sacred Circle about it, and I have some videos about it, but we can most certainly add to that at least.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's spirit communication.
Yeah.
So you start off, I guess, you know, what do you consider, excuse me, what spirit communication is?
Well, I mean, communicating with spirits. I mean, like, you know, having, and when, I guess we can start out with the idea of when spirits communicate with us and we communicate with spirits, it isn't always in the same way. I mean, I personally feel like sometimes when we get signs or when we get flashes of visions, or sometimes I hear a word or things like that, I feel like those are messages or communications from spirits, other than just that sort of vocalized discussion.
So I guess step one, do you speak with the ghosts? Do you speak with the spirits? To answer the question, you have to say, one, do you communicate with spirits?
What? I'm so
okay. It's like, so step one in this, you know, discussion is like, one, do you communicate with spirits? So from my end, the answer would be yes. I communicate.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
It's like,
what is she saying? I'm so lost. Have we started communicating with spirits? Yeah.
So I guess, what are some ways that you like to communicate with spirits?
So I guess, I mean, a lot of times for me, it's like either when I'm in a meditative trance, if I'm looking for, you know, specific a conversation, if I want to talk to my grandma or something like that, then for me, getting in a meditative trance works best for me. Sometimes that ends up me traveling to the other realm to have the conversation there. Sometimes if I'm writing, I'll be, like if I'm working on my novel or a short story or whatever, all of a sudden I'll notice that, what I'm writing has nothing to do with the story anymore. It's like, wait a minute, I was just talking about, this character going into a shop, and now there's like a personal message stuck in here. And then, I could always say that there is some form of spirit communication going on when I'm doing a tarot reading for someone. I'm not just reading the cards that are placed out in front of me. There's some sort of communication with, sometimes someone's loved one has passed and will show up and we'll get, oh, look I'm being told that, Auntie May wants you to know, blah, 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 kind of thing.
For me, spirit communication happens most commonly through tarot for me. They just tend to pop up. It just does. It doesn't really matter if it's personal, if it's a reading for someone else. They just tend to pop up I guess more impromptu wise through tarot. And then but a lot of the answers are going to be the same. When I'm in a meditative state, things just come through. It depends on, and also how often depends on how thin the veil is, other things like that. So
like how receptive you are in that moment too. I find that if I've been doing a lot of magical workings, or I've been doing a lot of readings in one day, if I have back-to-back readings, it tends to leave me in sort of that very receptive state. So those are the times when I'm not expecting it. I may get something come through and it's like, okay, I wasn't expecting that, but I guess I kind of was, because I knew I was pretty open prior to that. So yeah. Another time I noticed too is, I don't know if you ever get this, but if I'm sick, like if I'm ill and I'm spending a lot of time, resting in bed, especially if I spike a fever, I get those strange messages, or again, I feel like it's because I'm sort of in that in between spot, which tends to leave me more susceptible. Do you ever get that?
Yeah, I get that. And most people say, oh, well, that's just fever dreams. And to me, it's not a fever dream. It's usually pretty obvious what's being said. It may not make sense in the moment, but after the fact, it always does. But for me, I get them during dreams. Like lately, the past few weeks, I've been having a lot of spirit communication through dreams. It's been some of the weirdest, most bizarre dreams in the world, and some really interesting messages to decode. But dreams, that happens quite often for me too.
Yeah. Yep. And I agree. I think it's easy. Well, maybe not easy, but when you become familiar with your own, with the ways that the spirits communicate with you and what your dreams are, I think you can, at least for me, discern which is the message and which is just, those dreams that I'm working through something, Yeah. I don't know specifically what this person was sort of asking for when we talk about spirit communication. I think she was maybe looking for some personal experiences, because I know that she has worked with spirits before, specifically spirits of the dead, and she has found that because her personal life has gotten very hectic, meaning that family life and work, and she feels as if her time that she has previously devoted to this sort of communication has dwindled. And because it's dwindled, she feels that she is sort of almost losing some of the abilities that she had previously. And she's feeling really frustrated with that. And I think she just wanted us to, share our own experiences. I told her in the email that she sent me that I understand where she's coming from, because, our mundane lives can sometimes get very hectic, and things can manipulate and monopolize a lot of our personal time. And I think it's just, again, for me, if I'm spending time doing readings for other people, or I'm spending time in circle, or I'm spending time healing or doing magic and that sort of thing, it tends to open up. And even if I feel like I've taken 5 steps back, that kind of just rushes me forward to where I sort of left off. Do you have any suggestions or advice or just comments in regards to that for her?
Grounding is going to be a really huge tool. Cleansing in between would be really helpful. I feel like, a lot of I don't like calling them the baby steps, but but what you would do before, during, and after, those types of things. If you're having some type of struggle, difficulty, you're getting some bleed through, you're getting some spirit communication you don't want to get, or you're not getting it, there's some type of imbalance that's taking place. So you need to find a way to rebalance. So that's why I'm going to say, hey, ground, cleanse, center, come together whole before you start trying to go back into the path, because you don't want to fragment in the process.
Mm-hmm.
You have too much going on at that time. That's not the time where you should be doing spirit communication purposely. And if not, and you're getting spirit communication you don't want to, then you're going to need to start putting up some walls.
Yeah, well, I think what her thing was that she's not getting, breakthrough communication. She actually feels as if her communications are almost becoming non-existent because of the inability she has to set time aside to actually devote to working. And she said that she feels as she can feel the presence of them around her, and she knows that they're there waiting for her, but because she is busy with, work and kids and family life, that she doesn't have that time to put aside to sort of communicate with them, that she would like to. Is there any suggestions? I mean, other than scheduling the time, for setting that time aside so that she can actually start doing work or reconnecting.
It's going to kind of be harsh. If you can feel them, you can hear them. Then that's not going to be a popular thing for me to say. But that means that there's some type, again, I still feel there's a blockage then. And that's that's where I still stick. Okay, then the cleansing. Cleansing, not just spiritually cleansing, but cleansing of your mind, of, going into the meditative trance, doing that more often. Obviously, there's a lot of clutter happening up here that's going to be hindering that. So then we're going to need to still go back to basics on something, because that's still a foundational aspect of practice that's not being connected for some reason.
Right. And I was just saying that even just, I mean, if she doesn't have time to do these things, making the time, scheduling that time to just, do your basic meditation. Because if you're able to do that, then like you said, if you can feel them, then they're probably, if
they're there, they're speaking.
Yeah.
People don't show up to a bar and not talk to people. Do you see? But spirits are the same way. I've never had a spirit that shows up and not say anything. Regardless if it's high. That's my personal experience. I've never had a spirit just show up and just stare at me like in a scary movie and literally say nothing. They usually always have something to say.
I wonder, I know what you're saying, but now I'm thinking there have been times, but I guess it was early in my experience, that they were just waiting for me. Because I was just thinking of personal experiences where I have had someone show up and not say anything, but I think that was because I was not ready to hear, maybe it wasn't that they weren't speaking, but I wasn't ready to listen, that I saw them, but maybe I just didn't want to know what they had to say. But it was pretty early on. So, yeah. And again, I'm sorry. Again, I was going to say that their message or their way of communicating with me hasn't always just been, vocalized things either.
That is true, because don't really, I'm more clairaudient than I am clairsentient, but the thing is, though, the clairaudience is almost through a knowing, and it's not the same type of hearing like you hear with your ears. I hope that makes sense, because then now it sounds like I'm saying my clairaudience isn't clairaudience. It's just not the same type of hearing that you would hear with your ears. It's hearing within your mind. So at least for me specifically. So when I communicate a lot with spirits, the messages I'll get more in my mind. I'm not going to hear actually physically in this realm personally.
So, but it's still sort of like, are you saying for you, it's sort of like a voice in your head?
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds really bad, but that's how I hear it. That's how I experience it. That's how,
Yeah, because I think there is definitely a difference between a clairsentient and a clairaudient.
Oh, yeah. I'm not clairsentient at all. Nope. That's not something I envy. Is clairsentience. I don't. Nope, not an empath. But how would you know or even believe that you're in the presence of a spirit, if you were starting out?
Well, I don't know. I think for me, I think first of all, I guess it depends on how you're perceiving the spirit. And I think that goes back to the clairs. I mean, are you seeing it? Are you seeing something that isn't there? I mean, and here's where that fine line between a mental illness and a psychic or a spiritual experience, there's that fine line between the two. Mm-hmm. Are you having a psychotic moment, or are you experiencing a spiritual entity? But so first of all, I think it would go as to how are you perceiving this spiritual entity. So for me personally, it's a feeling, and usually I actually hear something. And sometimes I see, but I hear more than I see, and I feel more than I hear. So, I mean, and it's just for me, it's a specific feeling I get. It's different than me sitting here looking at the wall or working on my computer and feeling a person standing behind this backdrop. It's a different feeling than if it was a spiritual entity standing behind the backdrop.
Mm-hmm. For me, and it's when I know I'm being watched. I get that automatic feeling of I'm being watched. Okay, whip my head back, and then I can either see, hear, or feel. Not the same type of like empath. Oh, I feel all the horrible things that have happened to them in their life. Oh, it's not like that. It's more of, okay, I feel there's some shit in this room. I'm being watched. Who's in my room? Oh, okay. What do you want? That's more of like, it's more impractical in that type of way. So for me, it's going to be more of a feel, see, hear, a mix of, but mostly I know I'm being watched. That's the first thing I feel.
Then can you, like I was trying to explain, do you feel the difference between if there is a person, a physical person in the room watching you, as opposed to a spiritual entity being in that room watching you?
Because I'm a lot more creeped out if I feel like there's a human being watching me than a spirit watching me. Because if I feel that there's someone I don't know that's an actual in this place feeling watching me, girl, I'm getting my gun. I don't care what you think about gun control. There's somebody in my house. And like, but if it's more of, hey, I'm feeling a spirit or something, I don't know, a little girl upstairs named Emily, like in every ghost show ever, then, you work with what you got at that moment.
Yeah, I agree. For me, there is definitely there is a vibrational difference. I mean, And I guess, I mean, it depends. I mean, if we're talking about, you know, my children and my husband, I know what their energy feels like. I know what their vibration feels like. So it's like, oh yeah, I bet standing behind this backdrop right now, it's my husband. I can feel his energy. I'm familiar with his vibrational frequency. But if I go through, well, yeah, no, that doesn't feel like Alex. Nope, that doesn't feel like my son or my daughter. Okay, who is that? All right, who are you? What can I do for you? You know, oh, grandma, nice that you dropped by. Oh, yep, there's her cigarette smell. I can smell the Winston cigarettes. Kind of thing. Yeah. So I think that I think many of us who do communicate with spirits or work with spirits know the feelings. It's back to that energetic feeling and knowing the energy frequency and working with the energies of, you know, what you are as normally is in your physical world as, you know, people or places, and then recognizing those that are not of the same realm.
I guess for the beginner, you know, how would they push past like self-doubt or the self-doubt in the beginning of, is this me? Is this the spirit? When you're trying to, you know, first start out with spirit communication.
I mean, I personally, I would say it's, you know, practice. It's over time. Just the same with magic. I mean, how do you get over your confidence in your own practice if it's magic? I think it's, you know, knowing yourself and understanding and working with energy and working with, you know, the frequency of things, you know, your own energy and the energy of your environment, and then being able to sense that. And I mean, if you're working with psychic abilities, then strengthening and developing those psychic abilities are going to give you the confidence to know and to understand what's going on. I would say, what do you say to that?
I have to agree. That energy, working with energy in general, this is why energy manipulation is so important before you get into the craft. A lot of this is foundational. This is why I always am preaching and spreading the word about doing the basics of working with energy, meditating, knowing yourself, all those, you know, not so exciting things. Because then once you know all those steps and you know your own energy, you know what the energy is around you, you'll be able to then say, okay, I'm hearing something, I'm getting a name. I know that's not me because that's not my energy signature.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I was in the middle of a different thought pattern. I was thinking about pie. Oh, all of a sudden the name Carol Stafford came over here and it was a dude's type of, you know, energy. What is this? Then you go investigate that way. That's why practice and practicing your actual craft is really important when you do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. It was all I was going to say. I agree with you.
I lost my place. Where the questions go? Oh, people throwing popcorn at each other. Okay, no questions. Okay, there are just a ton of messages. I just lost my place for a second. Yeah. But I guess, what have you had any experiences when it comes to spiritual communication that were uneasy or unsettling or came straight out of a horror movie?
None that came straight out of a horror movie. Never had any of those. Ones that were a little creepy or uncomfortable. Ones that, I mean, I think they originally felt creepy or were uncomfortable because they were new at the time. Not necessarily new with connecting with a spiritual entity, but that type of energy was new to me. So, you know, that person or personality or their energy frequency was uncomfortable, which then made the experience uncomfortable, creepy. It was when we first moved in this house. There was a lot of activity going on in this house. And at the time I was doing a lot of channeling. So I would, and a lot of seances, just opening myself up for, or to, hey, I'm an open vessel, come
Let's
on in, kind of thing. So some of those experiences and some of those energies left me feeling really uncomfortable. And then the experiences that we were having with the entities in the home at that time were uncomfortable, but once we got used to it, once, we realized what was going on, once we, I became aware of who was here, why they were here, and just having a dialogue with them, understanding what was going on. We've lived, side by side for quite a few years in this house, and it's kind of gotten into a routine, but no horror movie kind of things.
I've never had a horror movie type of experience. And the reason why I asked the question was because a lot of people are afraid. The whole, you're opening up a door. No, the worst thing that's going to happen is no one's going to want to talk to you.
Well, we've had weird things, but again, I guess when I think horror movie experience, I think, something jumping out at you. We've had doors open. We've had entities sit on the bed with us, but again, it wasn't really scary. It was more just, what was that? That's weird. That's strange. That's uncomfortable.
I've never been scared or felt like what was that movie? I don't feel like The Conjuring is going to happen.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't think someone's going to come in. I don't think it's going to be like the others. The old woman's going to come out of the
wardrobe.
Yeah, the wardrobe. And go, nah! I've never had anything like that, and that's why I mean scary. The worst thing that's happened is when I've attempted to communicate and you've gotten nothing. But I have had some uncomfortable poltergeist activity, and that was just more of the plug that was in the wall is not in the wall anymore.
Yeah.
I watched it get pulled out by something else. I don't look like by nothing. Like, well, they didn't want the lamp on anymore, apparently, saving us energy. Like, that's one of the worst things. Like, we've heard some footsteps, we've heard some stuff, but nothing ever, like, I just don't feel like you get the negative experiences people expect you to get,
I agree. I think that if you go into it expecting negative experiences, then the experiences that you have, you're going to perceive as a negative experience because you've set yourself up for that.
Or you're going to attract things that want to give you a negative experience.
Exactly.
You got what you came for in that point of
view. Exactly. Because you're sending out that sort of frequency. You're inviting that into your space at that time.
I think we have gone over spiritual communication. I mean, neither one of us have like terrifying experiences with those that have been. I mean, I've had scary experiences, but they weren't from. Let me be clear. Incarnated ghosts. So
yeah, the one strange, I guess, or unsettling experience we had wasn't an intentional act of communication. So let me share it with you because I don't know if I've shared it before on any of our shows or videos, but when my daughter was younger, she was very open. I really feel like she was born very open. Not that I feel like children generally are, but I feel like she was a little more open than when my son was born. And she used to talk about the lady in white that used to sit by her bed at night. And for a long time, she was very afraid of this lady. I saw the lady once. I did not get a threatening vibe from her at all, but my daughter, when she was younger, started becoming more afraid. And that's when we came up with her nighttime spell, which basically she puts a shield of protection over her and requests that the god and goddess protect her as she sleeps. And the lady still was there. She would still talk about the lady in white, but she was no longer afraid of her. When we moved into this house, my daughter was still quite young, and it was maybe a few weeks after we had moved in, maybe even a month after we moved in. My daughter had gone to bed. Her bedroom is across the hall from us. And my husband and I were my husband was in bed and I was just getting into bed. My daughter came to the door, our bedroom door, peeked in because I hadn't shut the door all the way. She peeked in, and it seemed as if her mannerisms, her facial expression had changed to that of a little old man. She peeked in our room, looked at me, looked at my husband, and kind of grunted and walked out and went back to her room.
Oh, wow.
My husband was freaked out. He was quite freaked out. When I asked my daughter the next morning about it, if she had a weird dream, if she remembered coming into our room, no. I had tried to make some sort of contact with the little old man. I never got a response. It felt almost as if, whoever it was came in, was specifically looking for something or someone, didn't find him, and then just left. It was the strangest thing. I wasn't creeped out by it, but my husband was really, really unsettled by the experience. But, over time, as my daughter got older, she seems to be much better at, shielding, blocking. And now she doesn't have these almost spontaneous experiences and doesn't really talk about seeing anyone. Once in a while, she'll talk about feeling watched, which is something that you mentioned already. But it's not as frequent as it used to be. So that was the strangest experience with spirits and sort of trying to make contact kind of thing. But yeah.
Well, someone asked us, how often do you communicate with spirits?
Like intentionally setting time aside?
No.
Or, I do tarot readings for people quite frequently. And like we both talked about, kind of getting messages through that, just sort of opening the channel and saying, okay, anybody have anything to say? Me personally, I guess I don't have like a set thing that I set aside. If there's information I'm looking for, if there's something I'm working through, if there's, aid or things that I think I could gain information from. But I don't really, I don't know. I really don't have structure to much in my life at this moment.
Agreed. And I don't really purposely try to seek out spirits. I don't got the time, y'all. I don't have the time to try to communicate with grandma and grandpa. It's just that spirit communication purposely takes time. You're talking about trying to match energetic frequencies. You're just talking, and purposely, it's a lot of work. Non-purposely, when it kind of just happens, I guess through tarot, but for me, it's occasional, maybe like a couple times a week, but it's something crazy.
I used to, when the coven was a thing, and we had meetings once a week, I would try to do seance or spirit communication once a month. So back then it was quite frequently, but it was very scheduled. We would have a specific, someone in the group wanted to speak with someone or had a situation that they wanted insight for. So we would do table tippings too, which is a form of spirit communication. So we were, there was always an intention and it was very scheduled. But.
See, me being a solitary practitioner and never having been in a coven before, I never got to have all those fun experiences. Like,
we would have loved to have you.
See, like, I'm gonna be really, really honest right now. I have no clue what the fuck a table tipping is. It just sounds,
Oh,
I don't know. I'm assuming that you're just sitting around, you're around the table, and you're like, all right, move this table, y'all. That's kind of like what I imagine it is, but I have no goddamn clue.
yeah. Well, it's very similar to that. You sit at a three-legged table. The ones that we use, I enchant for specifically for table tipping. So, there's sigils and symbols written on the table, and it's enchanted for this purpose. And then you sit around the table and you have your fingertips. It's almost like doing a Ouija board. Imagine the table as the huge planchette.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
And then you're just waiting and you set say one tap is no, two taps are yes. And then you ask basic yes or no questions and you wait for the table to respond to you.
Okay. That sounds a lot. Okay. That makes more sense. Oh, and the other part of the question that you told me earlier about how spirit communication correlates with shamanism.
Mm-hmm.
Just want to go over it. Spirit communication is spirit communication is spirit communications, regardless of what your tradition is. No matter, it's just a method of how you would do it. But in the end, to me, it's exactly the same. I don't tend to see a lot of incarnated spirits within travels. You just see them here with us now in the middle plane. So they're just here with us. So that would be the only thing. It just is, That's all. That's it. That's all I got.
Oh. So, yeah. So I don't, like I said, that's all. I think she was just, talking about that whole idea of getting in touch if you feel maybe as if you were shut off or you feel as if you're sort of devolving instead of evolving in your practice. But like, I think for her, if she's watching this, the basic advice is to set the time aside so that you can get back to fundamentals within your practice and you can work with the energies and you can have an understanding. And if the spirits are there, they're going to communicate with you. You just need to be open and willing and have any blockages cleared out so that you can reconnect in a easier way, maybe.
Yeah, it shouldn't feel like a struggle.
Mm.
It shouldn't feel difficult. If
Right.
there's a blockage, there's something there.
Right. And maybe the fact like that she is very busy is just all this mundane and everyday daily shit is just consuming most of her time and energy. So then she just doesn't have enough to, do anything else.
That's just my daily life. Oh, I empathize so much on that level. I really do. It's so easy for the mundane to really feel like it sucks out all the magic of life. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm there right now. So it's hard to make feel like the practice or the craft is exciting. And these days it's just life and dealing with all the mundane tasks of what is. Oh, and someone wants to know, what do you know about the Morrigan? Those are inside thoughts that showed on your face as outside thoughts.
I know a little about the Morgan. I don't I'm no expert on the Morgan. I've read here and there. I've had some snips of personal experiences. But I would suggest Joey Morris is a pretty in-depth person that knows a lot about the Morgan.
Infinity will be another one because he
There
works.
you go. Oh yeah, and he had an interview with Joey not that long ago.
Talk to Joe, formerly known as Psycho Sorcerer. His channel name is literally it is the Grand Infinity. He works with the Morrigan. You can actually, in some of his videos, see outlines of the Morrigan in his video. It's actually pretty darn cool. You'll hear crows talking, all this stuff. So there's a lot of people. Another one is you might want to talk to is Hellbound, because that's closer to his tradition. Who's there in the chat. So he works with more with the Irish Celtic aspect of Fae and all that stuff. And I know there's some kind of I know there's a connection. I don't know what it is, but I don't work with the Morrigan. So anything I say will probably be bastardizing her name. I don't need Morrigan upset at me. I already got one deity upset at me, so I'm good. Let's see. Have you ever felt a higher level spirit activity when someone you're close to is reaching the end of their life? For me, the answer to that is no. Life is life, and we cross the veil when we cross the veil. So that's a hard question with the type of day that I've had that I haven't really gotten into. So I don't know if I can really truly talk about this question after the day I've had. Because I know that I had a death in the family today, so. So hard to say.
Yeah. Personally, when I this is hard. Yes, I'm just going to say yes for now and just drop it at that because I don't want to get into it at this point.
I can't. Morgan's a difficult deity to work with. Do you feel, and I have no idea about this question because when you start getting into specifics about authors, I'm not it. Do you think that Robin Artisan is a good writer based on witchcraft, and what do you think of his book, The Witching Way of the Hollow Hill?
I don't know that author. I don't know that book. So I don't know. I can't give you an opinion on that. I'm
an unread witch when it comes to a lot of these people who have read a lot of this stuff. I'm bad. I haven't read the majority of what is considered the reading. So, man, the energy has changed.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
I'm like sitting here rubbing the tops of my thighs because I'm like, okay, someone ask a really happy question, please, about anything else right now, please.
Right.
What?
Dragon Fae Shaman. So I work with the she and the many elemental spirits daily. Dragon Fae Shaman. That sounds like an interesting combination.
I wouldn't even know how to even try to piece that together.
I know, right? Dragon Fae Shaman.
Is it Friday yet? No, it is not Friday yet.
It's almost Friday.
It's so almost Friday. I'm waiting. Everyone's like, is it Friday yet? I'm like, no. Is it Friday afternoon past 5 p.m. yet? Because that's when I am off work. Like, I am ready. I am so ready. My body is ready to not have to work anymore. Repetitive numbers. Do you see repetitive numbers?
Yeah. Today I saw 444 today, which I found interesting. I think repetitive numbers are basically something, whatever you want to call it, whatever you work with. I mean, for me, sometimes it's the forces of nature. Sometimes it is spirits trying to say, hey, take note of what's going on at this moment, whether it's 444, whether it's 222, whether it's, 111. There's something in this moment for you to take notice of. And then sometimes if I'm really, curious, I will look at the numerology and try to see, you know, what does 4 symbolize in numerology. Honestly, I don't do that all the time because it's not really, it's almost like another layer of what I might need to know. But usually when I'm seeing that number and I'm considering what I'm doing at that moment, who I'm speaking to, what we're talking about, usually I can make the connection as to why this is important. But that's how I work with repetitive numbers. What about you?
Same. And also, I feel like it's a call to be present in the moment. It's like, I got your attention, be present now. Right there, right now is important. This moment is important. So is there something on the radio? Is something around you? Is there a sign, like an actual physical sign with the word around it? Like, look around and be present. To me, that's more of a lighthouse type of effect. Okay, no questions. I had to like screen through them, but
oh yeah, they're talking about the Morgan.
See, I feel like
National Margarita Day. Is that today?
That's today.
Damn.
I don't even do margaritas though.
Me neither, really.
I can't do it. It tastes like salt water. I know, it's terrible. I've only had one margarita I've ever liked. It was a blueberry margarita. I had 4 of them and had the best night of my life. But I haven't had anyone be able to make me a margarita as good since I went to Shreveport about 2 years ago. So
I like mojitos better than margaritas.
Girl, I will bathe in a mojito. I will lather my entire body sky-clad with mojito. I will wear only mojito. That's my favorite drink. That's why I say that.
Oh, really? I like mojitos a lot.
I love mojitos. Oh my gosh.
Hi, Dark Goddess.
Yes.
Raspberries and strawberries are good.
Strawberry margaritas and raspberry margaritas.
Hey, Brittany.
I've tried like frozen margaritas. It's one of those things I can't get into. However, black cherry mojitos, if you can find anyone that sells them, which is, if you buy black cherry syrup, all you do is make a mojito and put black cherry syrup in it.
Ooh, that sounds good. I like black cherry. I like the flavor of black cherry.
Oh my goodness. And however, I could do National Martini Day though.
Oh yes, me too.
See, martinis. Those are my things. Chocolate.
We should do martinis next week.
I will. But I will do the girly kind. I will do a chocolatini because I'm going to try to be fancy.
I'm going to do a dirty martini.
Ooh, I love it when you make it dirty for me.
Oh, you know it.
See, now everyone starts talking about booze and everything.
I know, right?
I love pina coladas. I like rum.
I like pina coladas.
Tequila. In my younger days, tequila made me a little too spry. So.
Oh, you made your own oracle cards. That's cool.
I need to be an artist first to do that. Oh, yeah. So have you been doing anything new lately in your craft?
Well, I did. I have actually. I have basically merged my altar of the dead and my main altar, and they are now one. Because of the way my practice is developing and sort of evolving. So I do not work with a matron or patron deity anymore. I don't work with any deities actually at the moment. It's more forces, the primordial forces of the universe. And so it's sort of, I'm setting up, I'm laying the groundwork, I'm laying the physicality, the focal points of what's been happening with the actual practice. So things are definitely shifting and changing.
Well, I'm in the middle of finding out if my deity's still angry at me. It'll probably take another 2 weeks of me finally giving her what she wants and making sure that it's good enough for good. because I'm sure she's sitting up there just happy how uncomfortable. And if y'all haven't noticed, I quit vaping because I've owed that to my deity for about 6 months. So that might be why my life has been a little bit interesting for the past 6 months. But other than that, the newest thing is I'm moving my old Book of Shadows. Ugh. I'm putting this into this because I have discovered I don't like big books. I don't want a big book anymore, Sherry. It's too much. I have to open it, and it's just too much information on one page. I wouldn't want to read a textbook in my real life, so this is what it is. I don't want a 3-bound notebook, so we're going to bullet journals.
There you go.
That's it. And I decided I don't want to draw pretty pictures. That's not me. I just want to
That's not me either.
I want lists, motherfucker. I need lists. I can't do it. I just can't do it anymore. I'm just in a place where I'm trying to get excited about my practice again. And I'm struggling right now because there's just all this, mundane stuff like we were talking about earlier. It's just, sometimes it's hard to get excited about the practice.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Rowan, shut up. I don't need to be a tipsy to want to adopt dogs. I have a friend that's spilling all the tea on me right now because I got drunk over the weekend and I drunk dialed him asking him if I should adopt a dog. Because me and my boyfriend were in the middle of a really serious discussion and we are about to get a second dog. It needs to be a dog that's smaller than Daisy is the key word though, because of her health problems. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at tiny yippy dogs that really can't do anything. We got really lucky with Daisy, so I'm hoping we get really lucky with the other dog. Don't worry, I'm gonna put some spell work on that.
So you are gonna adopt another dog?
Yes, but I want a lazy little old man in personality. Oh, right. I don't want a happy, I want a happy dog, but I want like the yippiest dog in the world. I want a dog that is just kind of wants to be in your lap, and just kind of wants to hang out with you, kind of like Daisy does. But I want a dog that's lazier. So just give me a lazy old fat dog and I'll be very happy. That's all I want in life.
Is that Daisy sitting on the
She's in that pile. If you can see, okay, I'm trying to move it. You see this
right
pile?
there? Yeah.
She's under those blankets somewhere, passed out. Next to a lamb chop. That's her size. My dog, because my dog's spoiled. I'm trying to catch
I'm like half asleep and I hear a vibration at like 2 a.m. and it's Renee.
Sounds kinky. No, hold on. No, Lilokin. No. Shame on you. This is who I am, guys. I just want more dogs. Daisy's about to turn 5, and we've been talking about getting her a brother for like a while now. And as soon as we get her yearly done, we're gonna do it, I think.
We're gonna do it, I think.
But that's kind of our life, because we said that about getting married, and now it's been almost 7 years, and I've just now gotten engaged. So it's just kind of like, yep, we're gonna do this. We hope. That's me. So, do you have a familiar?
I do. I do have a familiar spirit. Yes.
Oh. Daisy is not my familiar. Daisy's Chris's familiar, and Chris isn't even a witch. Ooh, whoops, I'm not supposed to say his name. Oh, well, my partner, he has this familiar spirit. Don't worry, he doesn't watch these, so I'm looking like, all right, who in y'all's, who in this list over here is shady? I'm like, okay, we're good. We're good. Plus, it's the most common name on the face of the planet.
Yeah, it is. It is. I love corgis. Corgis are so cute.
Oh my gosh, I would get a corgi if it wasn't for the fact the back problem. They have the same, they get IBDD just like dachshunds do. And I'm just kind of like, Daisy's IBDD is so expensive. I'm good. I'm thinking about getting a little long hair chihuahua though. I know you're not a fan of Chihuahuas.
I'm not. No.
Long hairs are different. They're so different. They just want to love you and sleep on your lap. They do nothing but just sleep on your lap. They're wonderful. They're wonderful.
So that's what Sophie does. Our dog, she just sits on your lap and sleeps. She's lazy.
Daisy hasn't moved from that spot over there in about 3 hours.
Yeah.
And that's being kind. She's probably honestly been there for 5. All she does is just sit there. She's just sleeping in my blanket scarf. She actually took one of my scarves that was a blanket scarf and now has stolen it as her blanket and won't let me take it back.
Aww.
Just spoiled that way. Oh, snap.
Get a corgi and name him Pepsi. That's cute.
I want to get a Chihuahua and name him Taco.
Oh, no.
I'm kidding. I won't do that. Okay. Well, it is already 12:56. Time sure
is 12:56. Oh my gosh. So I have no idea what we're going to talk next week. That's for sure. We're talking, but I don't know what we're going to talk about.
We'll pull out tarot cards.
Yeah. Or we should look for another tag if there's any tags out there.
Mm-hmm.
We could do that. So that's next week. We will be here next week, as we are on every Thursday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be martini night next week, so y'all should get your Where'd that come from? You should. Yeah, right. You should. If you're going to be in the chat next week, you should have yourself a martini, so we can all have a martini Thursday next week. It's March 1st next week too. So March 1st is martini.
My birthday.
It's your birthday next week?
No, it's right before my birthday. My birthday right before. 3rd.
So I was going to say, yeah, isn't your birthday on the 3rd?
I said it's almost my birthday, but of course that'd actually be perfect. Martini Thursdays for right before my birthday. That'd be wonderful.
And that's what we're going to do. Martini Thursdays right before Renee's birthday. Whoop whoop. I want to thank Michael Redden for being our official sponsor of Wine, Witches, Witchcraft. And that'll about do it for us tonight. Yes. Make sure you follow me over on CricketSong's Facebook page. I do free weekly readings. Pick a card and you'll have yourself a reading. So check that out. And if you want to find out how to be an official sponsor of the Wine, Witches, Witchcraft, not the Sacred Circle, check out Lunar Wisdom's Patreon page. I have other benefits and rewards for being a patron over there. That does it.
All right. Night, motherfuckers.
Oh, yes. Good night, motherfuckers. Love y'all. Again with y'all. What is up with that? Bye, everyone. Love you. Blessed be. Mwah.